Welcome, everyone. We are here at the We Are One Summit, cultivating inner peace to build a better planet. And we are here with Sophia Rayne. So, welcome. How's it
Thank
going?
you. Hello, it's so good to be here. I'm excited to be
Yes,
joining you for this.
same. Um, so, um, Sophia Rayne is a high vibe artist and a creative mentor. She's a singer-songwriter, a conscious creator, and an artist mentor whose music blends soulful storytelling with themes of self-discovery, healing, and transformation. With a sound rooted in alternative pop and soul, her work resonates with those seeking deeper connection, empowerment, and authenticity. Beyond her artistry, Sophia helps aspiring singer songwriters break through creative blocks, bring confidence, and develop a career that aligns with their purpose. Through her coaching and consulting, she provides practical guidance on artistry, branding, and the monetization while nurturing the mindset shifts necessary for success. That just like reading that, like, really lights me up because I have met so many artists over the years and so many musicians who are just like, oh, you can't make a buck doing this work. You can't
Oh,
you can't live your dreams. You can't make a creative life in the United States successfully without selling out or whatever. And
mm,
I love hearing that you're like, no, like let's do this, you know?
yeah, yeah, big time.
How did that shift really begin when you were like, no, I'm taking charge of like my art and my creative skills and I'm like going to bring it and share it and like in a I don't want to say it in like the monetization way, but like
Mm-hmm.
really, I mean, a lot of us who do what we love are business owners. So how
Mm-hmm.
did you really make that shift within yourself?
That's a great question. Honestly, what comes to mind right away is just leaning deeper and deeper and deeper into authenticity. Because the more we remain authentic, especially in our creative endeavors, the more doors open for us to be financially supported and find success in the material world.
Mm, yeah. And as you're talking, I'm like, but art is like the most vulnerable part
Mhm.
in your voice and like putting yourself out there. Like, even like, how do you lean into your most, like, what are the ways that you really lean into your most vulnerable places and still like embody all of that outwards?
Mm. I agree. It is very vulnerable, and there can be a lot of scared and fearful feelings around leading a life with your heart on your sleeve. But honestly, what I've personally found in my life is that when I live out of fear, I feel tight. I feel inauthentic. I feel stuck, and I find myself in these loops that keep me very stagnant. And honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. Like, take that leap of faith, do it bravely, do it a little scared, because when we're authentic, we gravitate, we magnetize towards opportunities, our soul tribe, like just people who can meet us where we are. And when we have those walls up and we're not living in that way, um, it can just keep affirming the fear that we're feeling inside. I hope that that answers the question.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And I think in one of your songs, I think it's Living, and you're like, in 2019, I got so I'm not singing the lyrics because I can't sing. I
No
can
worries.
sing, but not in key. But it's like in 2019, I got so like sober, and then I manifested
Mhm.
my dream team, and it was
Yeah.
just like, and I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big part of my journey. I went through a really tough chapter in life and in my high school years, and um, yeah, it took choosing solitude and sobriety and cutting people off that weren't for me and returning to a place of faith and trust and surrender that returned me to my craft, returned me to my love for music and art, and then from there I pursued it
Yeah.
professionally.
Cool.
Yeah.
When did you start making music? Like, when did you start writing? When, like, what was the early seeds there?
Yeah. Well, I think the dream has always been in me to be a performer, and I've always loved, yeah, writing and singing. But I started writing in, like, truly with a journal and constant in middle school. There was a poetry drop-in class in our English class one day, and I fell in love with it completely. Like, it was, I wrote a poem about Phoenix, the Phoenix rising and that transformation. And from there, it just really sparked my love for it. I've always enjoyed deep, meaningful conversation, and English was always one of my best subjects, just with the writing and the essays and things like that. So, like, writing has always been an interest of mine, but then poetry led into songwriting, and it kind of went from there.
That's
Mhm.
cool. And as we're sitting together, I just feel like you have such a like I don't give a fuck attitude. Like not that you don't care. You're like very empathic and
Yeah, mama. Yeah,
empathetic, but it's just like it's
yeah,
coming off. You're just like, no, I just do what I love. Like it's
yeah.
just so I think sometimes like I get very like wrapped into my emotions and sometimes that can stop me from doing things or
Mhm,
can procrastinate into me doing things that I love.
mhm.
But I love your vibe that you bring with it. You're just like, no, I just do what I love. And it's just such a core part of your energy being. I love it.
Wow. Thank you for seeing me that way. That feels so
Yeah.
good to hear. Wow.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your creative muse. I know that is a
Mm.
huge part of like your work. Like, when I listen to your music, like I listen to your music like on Friday nights when I'm like cooking dinner at home, like, I'm like I put the bajans down and I'm like ready for some pop music and I'm like, all right, Sophia Rayne.
Oh,
Um,
I love that.
but like how do you channel your like creative muse? Like what is the way that you like bring
Mm.
her or it or them into your world?
That's a great question. I think my muse is life itself. Like, I'm writing about all my different circumstances and experiences. But as far as tapping into that process, spaciousness. Right away, that's what comes through. It's a conversation with source. A creative process is a conversation with source, and when we really dive into it, it can be a portal of, for lack of better terms, it feels like a total vortex. And the way that I find myself just getting into that conversation, getting into that flow is stillness. No distraction. So I find myself, like, when I'm driving, I get a lot of inspiration, or when I'm journaling before bed, any opportunity I have where I'm just kind of just present and dumping my thoughts. Um, but also, seeds of inspiration can come in a lot of different ways. Sometimes I will be, I'll see something on a billboard and it'll spark something, or someone will say something and it's synchronistic and then that sparks a song. But just being present enough to hear the signs and to notice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny. It's just like it's all of the things that you do. Like it's the template for all the things that we do. We need that spaciousness. We need that pause to light us up in whatever way that we like to be lit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is what is lighting you up right now? Like what's really inspiring you?
Oh my gosh. Well, Um, right now in this chapter of life that I'm in, everything. And I mean that full-heartedly. Like, I went through a pretty intense life transition through this winter, like, and since doing that, I've just been traveling so much. I've been meeting so many other creatives and visionaries, and I've been writing so much more. Yeah, so life right now, I think the spaciousness, the opportunity that keeps finding me left and right, and just the endless possibilities is what's really fueling my inspiration. And then also the feminine rising and the goddess on earth and within each and every one of us, that's feeling very inspired right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What aspect of that is like ringing for you?
Mm. Just dropping deeper into the body, into the womb, and just, yeah, mother nature itself, just feeling so moved by her, so moved by the ways that more and more women and men are waking up to that presence and that energy. And I feel very inspired to walk through life um, a little softer, a little more present, um, and open to receive and just be in that flow, that divine feminine flow, like really feeling called to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your song, sacral chakra, what is it? Sacral chakra
Tension.
tension. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You really talk about like kind of embodying that like it's not just about the lust, right? It's about the like
Hmm.
connection and the emotion and everything that comes with it. And it's also
Hmm.
such a center, our sacral chakra is also such a center of our creative passions. And like you said, it's the connection to the womb energy and to the
Hmm.
reproduction. And one of the things that I was thinking about is, how do you harness, because there's so much distorted sacral chakra energy, especially in the United States,
Right.
where it is about, presenting our womanhood in a very patriarchal, very commercial way.
Hmm.
We're kind of left thinking we are making these choices, but really we're very heavily influenced by kind of our subconscious surroundings, right?
Hmm.
Um, especially as a young person, how are you staying aligned with your own sacral chakra energies and letting your kind of priestess self evolve and like how I guess
Wow.
I'm just because it's like you really do in your music, it's very sensual. It almost reminds me of like a very like young Fiona Apple, like take out the
Hmm.
rage and like bring in bring in the like sensual passion, you know?
Mhm. Wow, thank you. Oh my gosh. I feel so seen. I'm fully receiving this right now. Um, so this sacral space, it's our life force energy, it's our sexual and sensual energy, but it's our creative energy too. And yeah, I have been on a long journey of redefining what that means and redefining the ways that I've been taught how taboo and censored it has to be, and kind of recognizing that, oh wait a minute, no, it's the feminine being censored, it's the pleasure that's being censored, it's also the miseducation around the importance of protecting our sensual and sexual energy. Like, yeah, I wrote Sacral Chakra Tension. I wrote that song a couple years ago, and it was after a this kind of friendship connection fling that I was recognizing in my system wasn't right for me. And, I always like to mention that we're still friends and I wish him the best. And it was never like, your common toxic shouldn't have never done that anyway. It wasn't like that. It was just me finally becoming more aware of, oh, I feel a little drained or empty right now. And it's not because of this person specifically, it's because we're not compatible in this way. Like, I'm not meant to be pursuing this because it doesn't feel right to my heart. Um yeah, and the throat space, the heart, the womb, it's all connected for sure. And I guess I'm kind of running on a tangent here, but yeah, that song was a really deep, intense activation for me right after I decided to cut it off. I decided to cut off this connection, and instantly my life force energy returned to me. My power returned to me. I felt my timeline literally shift. I felt myself clearer, and I wrote that song and I just felt so embodied in my power. I felt so embodied in my creativity because the song was written so quickly and I was just feeling the flow again. And yeah, I think honestly, it's been a balance between redefining what it means to feel pleasure and to pursue it in a confident, powerful place, in an embodied place. And then also, on the other hand, recognize that it is a really powerful energy exchange to share your body with someone else. And it's that part is really overlooked, societally speaking. I feel like we have really two drastic uh polar opposites where you have like the church mention, and it's very concrete. Oh, you don't sleep with someone until you're married, and it's like end all be all. And then you have more mainstream media encouraging people to just sleep around and like be free and do your thing. And there is kind of a lack of education in both. I don't, you know what I mean? Like the feminine, I feel, is very much lacking in Catholicism and Christianity. um and wow, I'm totally going on a tangent here, but hang
No,
in
I
there,
love it.
girl. Okay. I hope everyone watching is following too, because um yeah, like there's a lot of truth in both, but I think that song was really just me returning to my body and my truth. And that's what a lot of my music ends up being, honestly, is just returning to a place of intuitive truth.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're very aware of when you're in alignment and when you're not.
I try to be. I mean, of course, we're human and it's gonna happen, but yeah, I feel it. I feel it, and my energy drops. I get ill more often. When something isn't for me, I pretty much know right away because I don't have that full body yes. I don't have, yeah, yeah.
When did you get into spirituality?
It's a great question. Well, I was actually raised, I'm Cuban American and I'm mixed. So I was raised in a home where I had a lot of different types of beliefs all around me. One side of my family was Catholic, and I had that influence. And then I also had the other side of my family that was led more of a spiritual practice. Belief in a higher power and a bunch of other aspects that come into that. But yeah, so I was born and raised into that world, and I always felt confident that there was life after death, that there was something bigger and greater than this. But I never really dove into it and felt personally interested until about high school. Yeah. I grew up reading the Soup for the Teenage Soul books. Like
Yeah.
my mom was making me read those. My mom, I know she's probably gonna watch this, and just shout out to you, mom. I love you. But she also at one point paid me to read The Secret. I don't remember how old I was. I think I was in eighth grade. I was 13. And she was like, I'll give you $5 per chapter if you write notes on this book. And I was like, okay, like I'll do it. Why
Okay,
not?
mom, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really planted some incredible seeds. And yeah. And then from there in high school, I went through a lot of change, a lot of really low moments, and then a lot of moments that pulled me out of it through my spiritual connection to source. And I saw a lot of synchronicities in my music. You'll hear a lot of synchronized number references,
Mhm.
and I deeply resonate and connect with synchronized numbers. So those are one of the patterns in my life that comes up often. Yeah, and then just reconnecting with my faith in like 2019, 2020, and my spiritual practices, and diving deeper in my heart's need to find, yeah, more understanding and more truth. And yeah, it's been a beautiful journey that I'm still of
Mhm.
course on, but it's been lovely. Yeah.
One of the things that I know you also do is you help coach and do consulting for like singers and creatives who are kind of experiencing writer's block or creative blocks, confidence.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you started supporting that mentorship of like helping other people kind of get out of their own way?
Yeah, I would love to. So the coaching and consulting for aspiring singer-songwriters, it actually started up about a year ago, and I'm actually just recently blasting it online as an offering, because it was a very sacred and intimate container that I was holding for a long time. But the truth is, I love connecting heart to heart, human to human. It feels so nourishing to my system. I feel like, I've been pursuing music independently for since 2020. And since then, it's taken a life of its own. My top song just hit 4.3 million streams on Spotify alone. And thank you. Yes, I know it's a huge milestone. And my point is, I have done so much of this solo, and I wish that I had someone to guide me and be a support system and hold the space that I needed when I was first getting started, especially as an artist who strives in making authentic, conscious pieces of work. Like the music industry doesn't necessarily have that. It's not educating artists on staying heart-centered and true to themselves. So yeah, I've been so excited to open these gates and these doors and really invite new people in. I feel very called to work with more women as well. I've worked with men and women and I love them both, but women, just there's something about them right now that I'm just like, yes, let me be a support to you in your career and your life. And so yeah, I've been deeply, deeply enjoying it, and I'm able to meet people wherever they are and just go from there. But yeah. Hmm.
How do you know who you can help and who says they want help and actually won't take it?
Oh, so I believe that there is someone out there for everybody. Um, it's really just an intuitive feeling for me. If I start to talk with someone and we just click and connect and flow, and it feels very natural, and they're at a point in their journey, whether they're just barely starting out or they're starting to pursue their career in music and they need some more support and resources. um, I'm able to really feel out if they can be receptive to my insight. But then also at the same time, like some people lean more coaching support, some people want more consulting, some people want the strategy and the resources and the links, and I can do that. And some people really want to focus on the mindset shifts, the affirmations, the like diving into the childhood wounds and trauma around creative expression. And I'm able to just mold my one-on-one coaching sessions to whoever really, or based on wherever someone is at in their journey. But then also, I've had moments where I'm like, okay, this isn't quite clicking. I don't think they're quite there yet. Um, but it's very rare that that happens. And I like to also remain very honest and transparent when it does happen so that no one's time is wasted and everyone feels really good and fulfilled at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I think that can be a very delicate dance between kind of like encouraging people to step up and show up for themselves, and that like also being tender with that those places that are scared and
Yeah.
still need to be seen and loved and kind of,
Yeah.
get that cheering and, have those shadow voices really acknowledged.
Absolutely, big time. Yeah, it's always very love centered, and I deeply sympathize too with a lot of the struggles and painful moments that artists go through or that they might currently be in. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. Let me tell you. Like
Yeah.
but it just depends. It depends on the person. Some people really appreciate the tough love and they're just like, look, tell me how it is as it is. But it's in my nature to be, yeah, to just like be gentle in the process because it is a vulnerable process, and it can be a bit intimidating sometimes. But I just want to see people thrive in this career and in the ways that light them up.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your song "Karma's a Bitch"?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to. So for anybody who is just watching this and you have no idea who I am, my catalog is filled with a bunch of different subgenres and different vibes and styles. it's all me and it's all authentic, but I have some dark pop with like more bassy, more root sacral chakra feels, and then I have some, some more singer-songwriter, some more R&B, a little more soul. Like it really depends on the message and the story I'm trying to tell. And Karma's a Bitch I wrote about a relationship I was in many, many years ago, and someone that I totally fell in love with for the first time. I was 16, my first love. And Karma's a Bitch is, you know, the way that that relationship ended was very painful for me at the time. And I remember feeling the rage and the rage, but also just being reminded by spirit, honestly, and the truth that was coming through was like, let karma do her job. It's not your job to, seek revenge. It's your job to just remain grounded in this. And so I wrote the song to alchemize my experience. I wrote the song to process it in my own way, and it's one of my favorites to perform. It's so activating and powerful. But yeah, it's like, look, karma's a bitch and you're gonna get it, but it's not my job to play her role in this game called life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have that fiery side in me too, I think when a lot of people think spiritual artist, um, that can lean super superficial and like the surface level of what we consider like a hippy dippy kind of mindless. I don't know how to explain that in a way that doesn't sound just awful, but like the stereotype of what a spiritual person and how they live looks
Right.
like.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so my music, it has spiritual influence and I live a life of spirituality, and so my music's going to have those messages in them, but it's so much more than that. Like it's you can really rock out, you could vibe and take it to the beach and
Mhm.
just just depends on how deep you want to get. Then
Cool.
yeah, and then all you got to do is listen to the lyrics a little more
Yeah.
intensely. Yeah, and then you'll have that.
And you have a little free gift for our viewers. Can you tell us about
Yes.
what the free gift is so they can check it
Yes.
out?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm so excited for this. Yesterday I spent a couple hours putting it together, and my free gift for everybody watching are journal prompts. And a lot of them. And all of these journal prompts are very specific to certain aspects of diving deeper into self and our creative journeys. And so, anyone who's watching right now who is an artist yourself, these are definitely for you. But even if you don't really consider yourself, um, hyper creative, or you're not looking to pursue a career in creativity, I would still recommend checking them out because they will really open doors for you. So all of these journal prompts I recommend sitting with one at a time. Take your time with them. Be super honest with yourself because that's where the juiciest stuff comes through. And I hope that they help nourish and guide you. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm.
Well, Sophia, do you have any last words of wisdom as we're wrapping up our chat today?
Mm. Oh my gosh. I think for any creative soul that's watching right now, I just want you to know that there is always somebody who will resonate with your work. There's always someone out there who can relate to the medicine that you are putting out there. And at the end of the day, write it for yourself, but trust and know that the deeper you lean into what's true to your heart and soul, the more you're going to be able to make an impact and connect with other people who need that exact same message. And
Mm.
that just feels really, really good to say to you guys, but also as a reminder to myself. Like that just feels strong. And thank you so much for having me today. This has been really lovely. It's been so nice to drop in with you. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor to have you be here in the summit. And for anybody who wants to get to know a little bit more about Sophia's work, all the um, social media and Spotify and all that kind of stuff is in the free gift is in the link in the description as well. So
Yeah.
thank you again, Sophia, and I hope everybody watching has a fabulous rest of their day or night wherever they are.
Yay. Bye.